he says, I'm gonna hurt your daughter. And I says, okay, but are you gonna save her? He says, I've never lost one yet. He says, so she's not gonna be your first. He says, I don't plan on it. She had had headaches on and off for, I'd say, about 3 months. They were occasional, and then they were daily. And just one headache would make her cry so bad that I was scared. Her face had started to droop a little, and that was starting to get concerning. Before they had wanted to say that it was migraines. Well, she's 4. I don't think a 4-year-old should have migraines, and if they have migraines, you better show me her head. We were at a friend's house, and I was watching her chase. You know, there was all those little frogs that were out this year, and she was trying to catch one, and she couldn't catch one, and that just scared me. I'm thinking, oh my God, is that perimytomia so much, or is there something more? They were surprised, you know, that she was walking, talking, alive, I guess. It had been there 2 to 3 years, I guess, as they said, with that kind of size.
And Chris, what was going through your mind when all this is happening?
I was more worried about losing my daughter. I don't know that I could specifically say one thing.
Because of the size of the tumor, it blocked off the ability for spinal fluid to leave the head. You know, the cerebral spinal fluid is made in the brain, and it will build up an enormous amount of pressure, and once it builds it up, it can be life-threatening. And almost every child that has a brain tumor in the location she had hers will present with the symptoms of hydrocephalus, which is the buildup of fluid. And that's always more of an emergency than actually the tumor itself.
We had all of our family come down. We did whatever we could to make it fun and happy. We decorated her door, asked people to put up little things, you know, just so she wasn't scared. We made it a night she'll never forget. Just because we were in a hospital didn't mean we had to act like it. So we had pizza and family and friends, and you know, it was kind of like, are we saying goodbye? She went off to surgery that morning, 7 or 8 hours in surgery, and you know, he took so much time and so much care. You know, she had this long beautiful hair, and he made sure that it was still there. He braided all these little pieces, and you know, they had to put a drain in her head to release the pressures from the backup of spinal fluid. It's hard to think that somebody spent that much time in your daughter's head.
She had a tumor called a pilocytic astrocytoma. It's a tumor derived of brain tissue. It had multiple cysts in little crevices, so it made it really hard to see all of it. But the nice thing about that pathology, though, is that it's curable with resection alone.
They had cut half of her cerebellum, which is like your second brain, I guess. Your ability to walk and you know, keeps your balance.
It was complex for sure. It was difficult, very, very large, and not like a perfectly round ball where you can see all the edges. Hers had fingers going different places, so it was very challenging.
So he had to remove what he could see, what he couldn't see, and he had to stop at a point where he thought if he went any further, she wouldn't wake up. There's still some left, and you know, you had to wait for pathology to come in. And since surgery, we have done physical therapy, occupational therapy. She has went back to school, half days. She gets speech at school. I mean, every week she gets better and better. So
you'll see more of it with hard tasks. So when she's doing something that's more difficult, you'll see her doing more of that. The more she's on her tummy like this, the stronger she's going to get. The biggest thing is having her cross her body like she was. That's really, really good. She has to be able to use both sides like that to do that. So that shows that she's able to use both sides of her brain together and then cross over like that.
Got up here.
You did.
Right down.
All by yourself. Ready? Hand on here. Whoa! Good job.
you gonna do it again?
Yeah.
Yep, let's do it one more time.
There's another MRI scheduled November 4th.
She did great. I'm really proud of her. She did a good
She really
job.
did.
All
Okay.
brain tumors are a type of cancer. Some people say benign and some people say malignant. In the brain, we generally say low grade or high grade.
Okay.
High grade spreads, grows fast. You usually need chemotherapy or radiation or both. She's got a low-grade tumor, meaning it grows slowly, and surgery is the cure without other types of treatments. Well, okay, let's talk about the MRI scan. So it looks good. So we're going to do another MRI in 3 months, and what will happen is we'll at some point things will either go away until I'm happy that we won't have to do more scans, and that'll probably be years from now, or something will look suspicious. And if it looks suspicious, we can go in and take care of it. It was nice to see that mom was very much an advocate for her daughter, so that even though her child has some other genetic issues that some of her symptoms could be explained by, mom's instinct knew that there was something else going on. And so she was persistent and finally asked forcefully to look at it a little bit closer, and an MRI scan was done, and Breanna came in and was able to be seen and taken care of, and she looks great today.
Every parent needs to be aware of their kid and definitely look for any sign and stand and be their advocate. Don't just let a professional say, oh, this is going to be it. This is what it is. Get your second opinions. Make sure you are the one person who speaks up for your child. Because if I wouldn't have spoke up, I may have lost my child. No one needs to lose their children because they didn't speak up or they were afraid or didn't ask for help. I'm not afraid.